Alright guys, today we're going to be doing a passenger front lower control arm on a Ford Focus. Stay tuned. Okay, so I already went ahead and took off the lug nuts and stuff, got it jacked up. So we'll go ahead and pull this wheel off. Customer said that they slid into something while the snow was on the ground and they bent this control arm a little bit, and it definitely looks bent, I would say, right here. That's not how it's supposed to be. So we're gonna need to get a Torx socket and probably a nut for the other side, or a wrench, and then looks like this back one here is held on by those nuts right there, I believe. No, that's the sway bar bushing. So I wonder if all of that holds together. Yeah, it looks like it does. Okay. So we're gonna have to probably take those out, and then the control arm should slide out of there. And then the front, we just got that bolt. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Alright, so I went ahead and tackled what appeared to be the more difficult fasteners first. And basically you just put an 18 on there, then you come up in here with a 21 wrench. You can hold the front one from this angle, right there where the wrench is. Then the back one, you want to stick it up in here. And if your wrench doesn't line up perfectly, just take the 18 and spin it, and it should eventually make it kind of line up with your wrench here. However, I've never really seen one where they use the same bolts for the sway bar link and the control arm to hold them to the vehicle. So I really hope that that sway bar bushing, rather, is not going to prevent me from getting this out easily, because that'll suck. I guess we'll find out moving forward. Next thing I'm going to do is take an 18 socket. We're going to try to get this out with a ratchet. Then I'll move to a ratchet wrench if I have to, and hopefully I don't. Hopefully these AC lines are not going to be in my way. Alright, so I was so wrong on this back part being the hardest. This front bolt is making you really show it what you're made of. So of course I got the bolt out. It was extremely tight. I had to use a 3/8 ratchet and socket and the handle from my jack to get it loose, because a 1/2 inch socket and ratchet would not fit in this area. So then I was having trouble getting it out all the way because it was hitting the compressor. So I looked around at some other videos, and I saw a guy take the bottom cover off, and then he took out that bolt on the line, and then the one bolt over here, and that loosens the shield on the AC. We don't want to take this one and this one out all the way, so we've already taken this one out. And there might be one other one under there, but these two for sure, the two we just loosened, and the one over here actually mount the compressor to the vehicle, so I didn't want to take those off. So anyway, I got to this point and I still couldn't get the bolt out because it is, or was, bottoming out right below that Phillips screw right here that holds in the wiring harness. But I think with what I did next, I should be able to push down just a little bit on this line and slide it out of there. And what I had to do to finalize the space is I jacked up on the engine under the oil pan, and I loosened but did not remove this bolt and that bolt on the engine mount, and I was able to get the engine to raise up a little bit. And now, if I had two hands, I should be able to pull that bolt out of there. The driver's side, I believe, is significantly easier if you're doing this on the driver's side. If you come up under here, you can see that you just have a straight shot at that bolt. You could even put an impact on that. So it's really unfortunate that this guy bent the passenger side. Also, I don't have a block of wood, so I'm just using a folded up moving blanket under my jack, or above my jack, I mean, to support the engine. It's not the best, but it's better than nothing. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that bolt out over there, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I was still having a hard time getting that bolt out. So I went ahead and just took out the ball joint here, got it out of the steering knuckle there, and that was a 55 Torx, a T55 right here, and an 18 socket on the other side. Once I got that, I was able to wiggle the control arm with one hand and kind of push the bolt out on the other hand. So now it's just a matter of sneaking the control arm out from under that sway bar bushing, and we should be at the halfway point. Alright, so we finally got that bad boy out of there. Basically just had to use this long black pry bar, and I got it between this bracket and the subframe, or the control arm and the subframe, and I was able to pry it out while kind of wiggling it from the other side. Gotta be careful and make sure that the stud of the ball joint is past the rotor while you're doing this, or it's gonna pull the entire suspension towards you, and you do still have your axle connected, so just be careful of that. Otherwise, I do think it's gonna be quite difficult to get this new one back up in there under that sway bar bushing, but we'll find out. Alright, so just as I expected, it was extremely difficult to get those back in. I had to come over to the driver's side, as you can see, and I loosened up those bolts just to get some more room on the bar overall. Then I also went ahead and removed the sway bar link from the strut, and that enabled me to kind of lift the entire assembly. And as you can see, I was able to get it in there. Everything's tightened up. Thankfully, this front bolt here wasn't nearly as difficult to put back in as it was to take out, so that's all in and tightened up. Then we got our ball joint here, and it came with a new pinch bolt, and I'm about to tighten that up right now. Alright, so we got those bolts tightened up back up on the driver's side. Got the wheel put back on, vehicle lowered down, lug nuts torqued. Then we came back over here and we got our sway bar link put back in. Since everything else was attached, I did have to go ahead and jack up on the control arm to bring the little ear on the strut up high enough for it to go back in. But we did get that on and reattached. And everything for the control arm itself is attached. While I was working on it, this little cap for the caliper bolt came out, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this back in. Then I came under the vehicle and we put all our bolts back in for this AC cover, as well as this one bolt that holds the line in. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put that undercover back on. We should be able to reattach our wheel, torque it down, and we'll be all finished up. And that's going to be the end of our video for today. I really hope y'all enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.